أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة يا غريب يا شهيد كربلاء فيا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الشريف وقوله حق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وضرب الله مثلا للذين آمنوا امرأة فرعون إذ قالت رب ابني لي عندك بيتا في الجنة ونجني من فرعون وعمله ونجني من القوم الظالمين. Illuminate your hearts and minds with about salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When a military commander enters a war, he wants to enter a war, what does he do? The first thing that he does is that he puts his family in a safe place. War isn't for women and children. So what does he do? He puts them in a safe place. He puts them in shelter until they cannot be harmed by this war, by the attack that is happening. That's what they do. That's what they do. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he wasn't just a regular commander, a regular person. He was an infallible imam. He was an imam that was ma'soom, infallible. He didn't have any sins. And he knew what will happen in the future of that path that he is going. He knew that. Not only him, the companions knew that this way that you are going from Medina to Mecca and from Mecca to Kufa, after that to Karbala, this path, the end of it, it's going to be thirst, it's going to be danger, captivity. All of them knew this. It's going to be martyrdom. That's what's going to happen. They all knew that. So this question suddenly pops up for us, that is Imam Hussain not know that he should put his family back in Medina? Why is he bringing his family all this way to Karbala, and after that they will go captive? Why is he doing this? This is a question that we have to ask ourselves. Go after it. Imam Hussain, we believe that Imam Hussain was infallible. So if I know that this is wrong, the Imam should know this is wrong too. So maybe he is not infallible or I am not right. One of these two. We know that Imam is infallible, so it has to have a reason that he is taking in higher goal. He wants to do something else. Send us a message. And to understand this question, the answer to this question, we have to go down into our belief system, into our Islamic belief system, what we have from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his knowledge, he's alim, he's the most knowledgeable. He has put upon us some duties, some Islamic duties for both male and female, for both women and men. And he has divided this very beautifully. Yes, the propaganda, the social media, it's all against Islam when we see this, and they say Islam is not just. Why? Because Islam has the man's back more. He loves men more. Islam, the religion, it's the religion of men. That's what they say. But when you go inside and see the reasoning of Islam's duties, how they put duties upon us, you're going to understand more and more. Biologically and psychology, when we look and analyze the men and women and then analyze what Islam put as duties on men and on women, we're going to understand that it's divided very nicely. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the men have some sort of duties. They have to do this, some chores. What we call in a short word, nafaqa. And it's wajib, it's mandatory. It's a mandatory obligation upon men that they have to do this. It's wajib. If they don't, it's haram. It's wajib upon that they have to provide clothes, they have to provide shelter, they have to provide food for their family. Even if it costs that they work 12 hours, 15 hours, they have to do that for their family. That's what's wajib on men, and it's not easy. It's not easy. Yes, you have to do it for your family. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you. On the other side, we see from women, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put some duties from women too. What are those? That they have to be the internal boss of the house, the manager of the house. That's what they should do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divided the hard work that is outside is for men. The hard work that is inside is for women. We're not saying that it's easy at all. Pregnancy, rising the child, a human being, how you can do tarbiyah to it, how you can rise it. It's not easy. It is very hard. Dear brothers, understand this. Sometimes we misunderstand this status. We say, okay, the woman is inside the house, it's under the AC, and she's doing whatever she wants, but we're outside sweating. No, it's not like this. Inside the house, sometimes it's more difficult. How you should raise your children in a correct way, in the path of Ahlul Bayt. It's hard, especially the children these days. With all social media, all the enemies that we have, it's very hard. And it's very beautiful how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divides it and names it. He says for the man, jihad, if suddenly war happens, men have to go to jihad. They have to go to war. And women shouldn't go. It's not upon them, and sometimes it's haram for them to go. Unless some situation happens. So it's jihad outside the house. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the women have jihad also. It's called jihad. What is it? It says, Husnu taba'ul jihadul mar'a. Being a good wife for the family is jihad for them. It's hard. Allah says jihad. Jihad is and literally it means something that is hard. You're going after something. Jahd. You're falling into something hard. So jihad al-mar'a is being a good wife. It's very hard. And on that side, men have hard duties too. So both of them have the duties that they should do. And that's what the Prophet tells Amir al-Mu'mineen and Bibi Fatima. They go to the Prophet and ask the Prophet that how should we divide the chores that we have. The Prophet says Amir al-Mu'mineen outside the house, Fatima to Zahra inside the house. They will help each other sometimes, but the main duties, the main chores is divided like this. And that's why in Kufa, we have this person that was neighbor with Amir al-Mu'mineen. And he says that because that the ladies were inside the house, I never saw Bibi Zainab. And I never heard her voice. Why? Because they were always inside the house. Or when they went outside, they would go at a time that no man would see them. So that's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divided this chores between them. And inshallah, go forward, ask questions about this division, how it is. Because usually it comes to mind, and especially in this country that we are, that it's not just women inside the house, men outside. It's sometimes different. I'm not saying 100% is like this. No, it's sometimes different. So questions come upon, and you have to go after the answers. Not just say, okay, this is a shubha, this is a question, this is a doubt. Let me keep it inside my mind. And Islam is wrong because of that. No, go after that. If you didn't find the answer, then you can say Islam is wrong. So this is the normal situation. If the circumstances are normal, the duties are like this, divided into this. But sometimes it changes. Sometimes these events change. When does it change? When one of the sides decide not to play their role. For an example, I will give an example of the house that's very easy. In the house, you're living together. A spouse is living together. They have a kid. They divide chores. Suddenly, one of them tells the other that I don't want to do this. What happens here? The other person has to go and do it. Is forced to do it. Why? Because if they don't do it, it's gonna stay, and chores will go upon, and the house will become chaos. So they have to go after it. They are forced to do it. That's the exception that we have. Normally, both sides are good together. Each one does the chores that they are reliable on, and it's divided. But sometimes one of the side doesn't do it. He or she escapes what she has or he has to do. In society, it's the same too. Each of them have a role model. And one time, one of the groups just left their action that they had to do, their duties that they had to do. In which time, who did this? The men. In the time of the prophets, in the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, in the time of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, they left the duties. For a good example that we can talk about is the time of after the Prophet. When the Prophet passed away, the men should have stood up, and they should have went after the truth, after Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. They should have went, but that didn't happen because of fear, because of money, because of their love to this world. They didn't go after what they should have. They should have went after Amir al-Mu'mineen, but they didn't. What happens in this situation? Somebody feels that if I don't go after it, it's going to be demolished. There's not going to be any Islam. Who is that? Bibi Fatima. Salamullah alayhi. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The same woman that nobody has seen her shadow, nobody has heard her before, that same woman goes into another role that they have. And that's the role of men. What does she do? First of all, she goes and gives a sermon of Fadakiyah, khutbah Fadakiyah in the masjid to the men that wake up. I shouldn't be here. You yourself should do what you have to do. Right now, I'm not in the situation that I should have been. I have to go to my house. But because of you men, I have to go outside. I have to talk. I have to tell about the people about justice. Who Amir al-Mu'mineen is. I have to tell them. Okay, after that, the people that were inside, Ansar, Muhajir, they start crying. But it doesn't affect. 1 day, 2 days, nothing. Nothing happens. After a while, the ladies of Ansar and Muhajir, the companions of the Prophet, they come to visit Bibi Fatima. They come to visit Bibi Fatima and they ask her a question. Like, كيف أصبحت يا ابنة رسول الله? How are you? What's the situation with you right now? كيف أصبحت, it's a phrase that means what in these days, how were you? And she starts to talk about and give a sermon to them. That usually this sermon is given to men, but she gives it to women. And she says that أصبحت والله عافة لدنياكم قالية لرجالكم. I have waken up, these days, this world that you have is disgusting to me. I don't like it anymore. The men that you have, they have fallen from my eyes. They are not men anymore. I don't want this world. And she starts to give this sermon, it's almost 1 page, about men, that your men should have went after Amir al-Mu'mineen. Your men caused that this prophethood after the Prophet get destroyed, your men thought that they are going after deen and dunya, but they don't have deen or dunya right now. You're thinking that you are getting gold, but you are getting blood. That's what you think. And she starts to act and talk about the men. And this question pops up again. That why is she talking about men? These are the women of Ansar. She should say, okay, you woman, you should have do something this or that and this. Why? Because she thinks the men cannot do it anymore. And the women should go after it. The woman should send this message to the men. A man outside the house, he can bring excuses. Okay, Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, if you would have come earlier, I would have done this and that and then escape. He could have done that. Men outside. But inside the house, he is facing a family. And if his dignity is crushed inside the house, he cannot answer anymore. So it's important for himself that inside the house, he has that dignity, that pride. And so Bibi Fatima, through the women, wants to send a message to the men that your men should have done this. And it affects. This sermon affects. But the men were ignorant. After the sermon that Bibi Fatima gives to the Muhajirin, the women of the Muhajir, they go home. After 1 day, 2 days, the men come to the house of Bibi Fatima. And what do they bring as an excuse? So it affected, It affected. The men came and they tell Bibi Fatima that we heard that you are upset of us. What has happened? They told Bibi Fatima as an excuse that if Amir al-Mu'minin would have came earlier than Abu Bakr, we would have pledged to him. When Bibi Fatima hears this, she says, فَلَا عُذْرَ بَعْدَكُمْ بَعْدَ تَعْذِيرِكُمْ. There's no excuses accepted from you after I have told your woman and yourself what's the problem. Don't bring excuses. Excuses is the wrong thing right now. We say in Farsi, عُذْر بَدْتَرَ تَقْصِير. Yani, it's the excuse that you bring is worse than what you did. Okay, you didn't go to Amir al-Mu'minin. Why are you bringing excuses? Ignorant excuses. Okay, say I didn't want to. Don't say that Amir al-Mu'minin if he was earlier. Okay, what about Qadir? What about the 23 years that Prophet said Ali, Ali, Ali? What about that? That's not earlier? Just because 1-2 days this was forward and back? So don't bring that excuse. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ya Ali. So this may be also why Imam Hussain alayhi salam, when some companions in the path of Imam Hussain to Kufa and Karbala, many of companions reach Imam Hussain and tell him that, give him an advice, that you shouldn't go to Karbala, like Muhammad al-Hanafiya or Abdullah ibn Abbas. They go to Imam Hussain and tell him, we love you, Ya Imam Hussain. We as brothers want to tell you something. We want to give an advice that don't go to Karbala. You know the end. Don't go. What does Imam Hussain answer? He answers that, Inna Allah sha'a an yarani qatila. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has willed to see me dead and killed in Karbala. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. But then Abdullah ibn Abbas has another question. Okay, you are different. You're a man. Jihad is wajib on you. So you go. What about your kids? What about your woman? What about your sisters? Why are you taking them with you? And he also answers Imam Hussain that Sha'Allah an yarahunna sabaya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to see them as captives. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see. So maybe behind this answer, there is something lying, some reason that why is this happening? Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that after Karbala, the enemy, they want to keep the women as evidence of victory. They don't want to kill them. They want to show Ubaydullah and Yazid that we have won. And these are the people that we have captive. We have won. And so they won't kill the woman. But they don't know also that these women are the people that are going to destroy Bani Umayyah. They are going to tell the story of Imam Hussain. They have another role in here. The role of women in Karbala may be the same level as the role of the men. That's how important they were. That's how important they were. We can divide it into 3 sections. The role of women before Ashura, the role of women at Ashura, the role of women after Ashura. All 3 of this, we have evidence for them. All 3 of this. The first one that we can talk, that before Ashura, the ladies of the companions, I'm not talking about Bani Hashim, the ladies of the family of Imam Hussain. No, we say they are different. Okay, the ladies of the companions, they are just us, like us. They're no different. But look how ma'arifah, how much knowledge, how much they knew their Imam. Zuhair ibn Qayn, he didn't want to meet Imam Hussain alayhi salam in the path that they were going. Both of them, Imam Hussain and Zuhair, they were both going to Kufa. And Zuhair was always avoiding Imam Hussain, one step behind him, so he didn't reach Imam Hussain. He didn't want to be in that army. One day Imam Hussain alayhi salam sends a messenger to Zuhair, that, Ya Zuhair, come help me. I need your help. Suddenly Zuhair freezes there. He doesn't know what to say. The wife of Zuhair, in the name of Dalham or Daylam, they say, she talks to Zuhair and tells him that you hear Imam Hussain asking for help and you're standing here. If Imam Hussain wanted help from me, I would have rushed right now. But you're standing right here. What's happening? Zuhair, you're not that brave man that I knew. So that just one sentence from the wife of Zuhair, from Dahlam, sends Zuhair to the tent of Imam Hussain. And when Zuhair comes back to the tent of himself, he's happy. He's smiling and tells the wife that, I'm divorcing you, you go. I want to be with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. You go. I want to be with Imam Hussain. Look, one sentence from his wife changed him. So look at that effect. Look at the role that they have. And one person in the army of Imam Hussain is very important. How many did he have companions? 72. Say 100. 1% is 1% more. That's how effective it is. That's Dalham. We have another woman in Basra. Her name is Maria. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, he was the governor of Basra and Kufa. So Ubaydullah tells the people of Basra, and he tells them that if you talk about Imam Hussain alayhi salam, if I find out that you want to go to Karbala, you all will be slaughtered. I will kill all of you. So that's Ubaydullah. And all men feared to even gather. Why? Because if somebody would have went and tell Ubaydullah, their family, all of their family would have been killed. So one woman has the bravery to put the gatherings of the ashab of Imam Hussain in her house. And that's Maria. And because of that, 5 people, 5 companions get sent to Karbala because of this Maria and the gathering that she had in her house every day with the companions and encouraging them to go to Karbala. She sent 5 people. She sent 5 people to Karbala. That's the effect of a woman in Karbala. 5 people, that's almost 10%. She sends it to Karbala. Another woman that we have heard, Taw'a, she was a woman in Kufa. When Muslim becomes alone, nobody helps him, no men helps him, all of the men have betrayed him. One woman opens the door of her house for Muslim, and that's Taw'a. So that's the role model of women before Karbala. That's the role model. That what's happened. They helped Karbala. Why? Because the men didn't have the courage. And that's important. That's important in that time. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Also in Karbala, this is so beautiful. These stories of the companions, it's so beautiful. We can relate it to ourselves. In this time, there's no need for jihad, getting our swords and going fighting. No, there's no need for that. In ourselves, in the community, each day, it's jihad for ourselves. In this community that we have, in this society that we have, every day is one jihad. Teaching our kids, it's a type of jihad. If you see that your partner, your spouse doesn't act upon it, you should stand up. Both sides, men and women. Dealing with people, dealing with each other, it's jihad. You have to stand strong. You have to have sabr. You have to have patience until you can be one of ashab of Imam Zaman Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. So in the time of Karbala, on the day of Ashura, so we talked about before Ashura, there are more examples, but I just want to talk about these 3 examples. Let's go on the day of Ashura. The day of Ashura, it's the battlefield, and the men are going one by one. One of the wives, her name is Wahab. We have 2 Wahabs, and I'm going to talk about both of them tonight. Wahab was the wife of Abdullah ibn Ubaid, and he goes in the battlefield. Suddenly, they see a woman is screaming out that, "Oh husband, I'm not gonna leave you until I die with you." And she starts to attack the enemy. A woman starts to attack the enemy with bare hands. She goes to fight. Imam Hussain sees this and he brings her back. Says, "No, it's not the time right now and you shouldn't do this. Jazakallah khaira. You and your family are in Jannah, are in heaven. Don't do this anymore." And so, because of what Imam Hussain told her, she stands back. But when her husband is murdered, is killed, she can't handle it anymore. And she goes to the battlefield. She grabs a wooden sword and goes to the battlefield and attacks 2 people and kills 2 people also. A woman kills them. And after that, Shimr tells the enemy that attack her, look how the enemy was. They didn't even have mercy upon a woman. And they killed her. So she died with her husband, next to her husband, and they are both in one grave, next to each other. The ashab of Imam Hussain are all together, and she is one of them. So that's Wahab. We have another Wahab, and this is so beautiful, this story. So beautiful. Wahab and Wahab, they were Christians. Imam Hussain sees them in the path to Karbala, and they convert to Islam. So it's almost like 1 month, 20 days that they have just converted to Islam. They have become Shia and they go with Imam Hussain alayhi salam to the battlefield. Wahab goes and asks permission. Imam Hussain doesn't give him permission first. He says, you are, and he was recently married. So Imam Hussain says, no, you are recently married. It's not good. You should have a good life after it. What does he say? He says that my mother and my wife sent me to the battlefield. It's not myself. My wife and my mother sent me so I can be killed in the path of you. I can be in your path. So he goes, fights, and he gets killed. But what happens after? The enemy, they sever the head of Wahab. And they throw the head of Wahab to Wahab, to the mother. They throw the head to the mother. The mother sees the head of his son. Look how hard this is. Sees the head of his son. A new married son. He's young. He sees this. She sees this. She wipes the blood. And then what does she do to this head? A severed head of his son. Usually what comes to our mind is that she's going to bury it. She's going to keep it. What does she do? She throws it back. She throws the head back. And she says that what we give in the path of Allah, in the path of Imam Hussain, we don't take it back. We give Wahab. It's done. We don't take it back. That's women in Karbala. That's the knowledge. That's the ma'arifah that they had. How they knew the Imam. And look, Wahab was only 20 days Muslim. She was a new Muslim. How she knew the Imam. And how she provided this, how she knew this knowledge. It's so beautiful about Wahab. So these are the ladies in Karbala on the day of Ashura. And we have all of these examples. These were only ashab and some of the ashab, some of the companions. So after Karbala, we talked about Ashura, and now we're going to talk after Ashura. After Ashura, also everything was on the shoulder of the woman right now. Everything is on the shoulder of the woman. Why? Because they don't have any men right now. All of them were slaughtered. All of them were martyred. So everything was on the shoulder of them. We have this lady, and she is the wife of Khuli. I'm going to give an example of the opposite right now. Khuli was the enemy of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And each night they would stand, the caravan of Imam Hussain, of Shem, each night they would stand until they would reach to Kufa, and then after that they would go to Sham, to Syria. So each night they would stand at one house. When they reached Kufa, Khuli secretly grabs the head of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and takes it to his house and hides it in the oven of his house. Suddenly, the wife of Khuli, she finds out that Khuli has did this. Her husband has done this. So what does she do? She goes and tells Khuli. Usually men, what do they bring? They bring gold and silver. But right now you have brought the head of Imam Hussain to our house. What are you doing right now? And she says that after this, you're not going to see me in your house anymore. We're not going to be together anymore. And what does she do? In the time of Mukhtar, after Imam Hussain, Mukhtar rised against Yazid. And he started to kill the people that were enemy of Imam Hussain. And on the day of Ashura, they had hand in the murder of Imam Hussain, in the martyrdom of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. So Mukhtar rises and he's after them. He's after Umar ibn Sa'd, he's after Shimr, he's after Harmala, and he's after Khudi. He can't find Khudi. Suddenly this wife, look, a wife, she was a wife of Khudi. But she sees that the haqq is not with Khudi right now. Yes, he was my husband, but that doesn't mean he's haqq. That doesn't mean he's right. That doesn't mean he's right. So she goes to Mukhtar. She goes to Mukhtar and tells Mukhtar that where Khudi is hiding. And she gives up Khudi to Mukhtar. That's one of the companions. That lady. Another one, we're going to go to Bani Hashim alayhi salam. Who is she? She is Ummul Baneen. Ummul Baneen. Ummul Baneen. Ummul Baneen. People, if you have haja, if you have any niyaz, if you have any needs you need, Ummul Baneen is different. She gave everything to Imam Hussain, and Imam Hussain is giving her everything. If you ask her, it's my experience. Whenever I asked her, she has given anything that I wanted. Ummul Baneen. Just if you need a need, if you have a haja for a sick one, you need money, you need wealth, you need health, anything you want. You need children, you want a good marriage, a good wife, a good spouse. Ummul Baneen is the person to go. Just one prayer for her, 2 rak'ahs prayer, 1 fatiha for her. Sometimes if you have more money, you can give food to the needy on behalf of her. That will help you. That will help you, inshallah. Baneen. Before Karbala, she has given 4 of her sons. One of them is Abbas. One of them is Abul Fadl Abbas. That's enough for her entire life. Abul Fadl Abbas is her son. That's enough. But after Karbala, she still feels that she has to do something. So she becomes the media of Karbala. Right now we have social media and phones and Instagram. She becomes the media. She becomes the voice of Karbala. She becomes the voice of Imam Hussain in Medina. She goes to the cemetery of Baqi. She puts 4 graves. Each day she goes and mourns on these graves behalf of his sons. That's what she does each day. And she, at that time, begins the majlis of Imam Hussain. Right now we have majlis, it's because of Baneen. That's what she does. One woman has this much effect on the community, on the society of Shia. So that women are weak. No, they're not weak. They have the effect that sometimes men don't. They have that effect in life. This is Baneen alayhi salam. This is what she can do in that time. And suddenly, when we look at what Baneen did to Bani Umayyah, it's that she corrupted them, she changed them, she moved them forward. They were all changed. After 1 year, they wanted to rise against Yazid. After 1 year, that's how they changed. The Medina, they didn't go with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. But after 1 year that this happened, that Baneen showed who was Imam Hussain. What they did to Imam Hussain, they changed. And Yazid finds out, and then the waqa of Harra happens, the tragedy of Harra happens, that inshallah in other nights we're going to talk about it. Yazid attacks them in such a ruthless way. And he slaughters that they say that on the ground of Medina there was blood just pouring out. Why? Because they wanted to change. They changed after 1 year. That's what Baneen can do. That's what one woman can do. And let's not talk about Bibi Zainab. Bibi Zainab, herself is a different story. from the day that Imam Hussain was murdered, from the Ashura until Sham, until Medina, until Arba'in, they go back. This Bibi Zainab does something, changes the people there. And that's the effect. We have a saying that Karbala dar Karbala mimand agar Zainab nabud. Karbala would have stayed in Karbala if there was no Bibi Zainab. So this is Bibi Zainab's effect. And I also know another woman, another girl. But because of her status, because of her place, because of her knowledge, she is like a woman, is like an old woman, is like somebody that has grown up with the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt. Who is she? She is Bibi Ruqayya salamullah alayha. Bibi Ruqayya salamullah alayha, a little 3-year-old girl. What can she do? What can Bibi Ruqayya do? In between all of those enemies, those ruthless men, what can a little girl do? When they reach Sham, when they reach the palace of Yazid, and Yazid had a plan to humiliate them, and put them in the ruin of Sham. Next to the palace of Yazid, there was a ground that didn't have a roof, didn't have a ceiling upon them. It was sand on the ground. So Yazid put the caravan of Imam Hussain, the woman, in that kharaba, we call that, in that ruin. When he puts them, his program is that, okay, their dignity will be crushed there. But suddenly, one night, Bibi Ruqayya, she wakes up from a dream. What has he dreamed? What has she dreamed? She has dreamed her father, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And right now, she is crying out loud, Ya Amma, where is my father? Oh aunt, where is my father? I want to see my father right now. Bibi Zainab, the mountain of patience, in this path, whenever there was a whip that wanted to hit these children, Bibi Zainab would went in front of them. This mountain crushed in that moment. When she heard the cry of Bibi Ruqayya that she wants her father, she was crushed there. Oh Ruqayya, please be a little quiet. Your father is traveling right now. He is not here. So be a little quiet. But can you quiet a girl that wants her father? No, you can't. Her voice reaches Yazid's palace. Yazid wakes up from his dream, from his sleep, and tells the person there that, what is this? What is this noise that is here? Who is crying? That person says that Yazid, that is one of the girls of Imam Hussain. What does she want? She wants her father. What does Yazid answer? He says, then take the head of Imam Hussain to that little daughter. So they take that head of Imam Hussain alayhi salam to that daughter. They put it on a tray. They put a cloth on it. They take it to the ruined place, to Ruqayya. Ruqayya, when she sees that, she tells the Amma, she tells her aunt, Ya Amma, I didn't want food, I wanted my father. Amma says, wait a little, you will find your father. They bring that tray to Bibi Ruqayya. Bibi Ruqayya puts off the cloth. She sees the head of Imam Hussain, a little daughter, a 3-year-old daughter. Can she handle this pain? What does she start say? Ya Aba, man alladhi aytamani, who has orphaned me, ya father? Ya Abata, man alladhi khadhabaka bidamik, oh father, who has painted you with your own blood? Suddenly Zainab sees that this lady that was crying, this girl that was crying, Bibi Zainab, Bibi Ruqayya that was crying, is now quiet. She turns back and sees on one side the head of Imam Hussain, and the other side Bibi Ruqayya. Rahimallah man nada wa Hussaina mata min Hussain.